Hey, it's Jack, and this video is called Will He Ever Leave Her? Hi, my name's Jack Butler. I'm a relationship coach, and I release at least 2 videos a week on relationships and personal growth. And if you're new to the channel or you haven't yet subscribed, I'd love to encourage you just to do that. You can hit the button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen here, and then just tap that bell notification so you will receive new videos as soon as they come out. So, will he ever leave her? This is a commonly asked question. If you found yourself in a situation where you are in love with a guy who's in a relationship, maybe he's even married, or maybe has a committed partner, and you're wondering, hey, he's also perhaps expressed feelings for me, I definitely have feelings for him, is there a future? And the first thing I want to say is I really feel for you if this is your situation, because I know what it's like to be in an unrequited love situation. I know what it's like to have feelings for someone that's in a relationship, and it's difficult, it's confusing, it can be tormenting at times. So just to start off, I want to invite you to cut yourself some slack, that these situations are difficult and we weren't really taught how to handle them, right? So most of us are in the Wild West with our feelings and trying to work out what the best thing to do is. I'm going to lay down a very simple approach to this. Your situation may have a lot of nuances, but the simplicity that I want to suggest with this is, if a guy is going to leave someone to be with you, you've got to let him do that in right timing. And what that means is he's actually going to make a decision at some point that that is what is right for him to do, based upon his conscience, based upon his desire, based upon what feels right and true to him. And until such a time as that happens, my encouragement for you is that you live your life and that you don't try and maintain a relationship with someone that's in relationship. So what this might look like is you making a declaration to a guy where you say, hey, I have feelings for you, I would love to be in a relationship with you, and I don't want to do some kind of triangle with you. I don't want to be a third wheel. And I'm going to take a stand for the possibility that you and I might be in a relationship one day. And if you have cleaned up house on your end, and that doesn't just mean that you break up with someone or you leave them, normally that means that there's actually a period of metabolism, grief, adjustment, where that relationship is actually fully let go of and fully processed through. And if at that point you want to look me up or give me a call, you are welcome to. I will remain open to you, and I'm going to go live my life. Right? So this kind of does 2 things. One, it really makes an authentic declaration about what is true for you, that you are really interested in this possibility. And then secondly, importantly, it also involves some self-worth and self-respect, that you're not just going to hang around for some fleeting possibility in the future, that you're actually going to minimize the connection, right? So that there's not this like you get to have your cake and eat it situation. You actually minimize the connection. You say, hey, I'm going to go live my life. I might meet someone, or I'm going to be going and dating and living my life. I'm not waiting for you, but I am taking a stand for the possibility that I might see with you. Because otherwise, what tends to happen is you end up in this situation of kind of half promises, right? Where he might say, oh, I'm going to leave her someday. We're going to be together someday. And he may be feeling honest when he says that. And if his actions aren't backing it up, it's not really worth that much, right? And it's really easy to, if you're in a significant relationship and then someone's coming along and it's like this lover energy, it's easy in that situation to imagine that, oh, when we're together, our future will be rosy, it'll be this and that, because you probably don't have the day-to-day strains of relationship going on with that person, right? You might be invoking a side of him that's not particularly online in his current relationship. And all of that to say, it's hard to get a clear read on what is actually going on until the current formation has dissolved. And then, and I'm saying this with as a little bit of caution to you, sometimes the excitement that was attached to the affair, or the possibility of being with you, sometimes that doesn't continue, right? Sometimes when it's not like, oh, actually this is like a fun or secret alternative, when it's actually the main event, the whole enchilada, sometimes there's a different dynamic there. So it's also just to say, it's really hard to know what's actually going on, because you might be playing a role unwittingly in this guy's life, where he gets to have an escape valve, he gets to have a romantic fantasy, he gets to have, the sort of lusciousness of a love relationship without necessarily the difficulties and obligations of a commitment. And so you might be his little escape. And actually that doesn't have anything to do with the real compatibility that exists between you for a future exclusive relationship. Right? So I hate to be the bringer of sober news, and I really want you to be open to the possibility that if a guy really, really wants to be with you, he's got to go figure that out. Right? He's got to figure out the stuff on his end. He's got to renegotiate his current agreements. He's got to separate and get a divorce if he's married. He's got to figure out what he's doing if he's got kids and a family. Or if none of that's in the picture and he's just with someone, he's got to figure that out. And I'm not saying you have to wait around on his timeline. I'm saying, hey, go live your life. But if you're constantly thinking at some point, what we want to be mindful of is you could be in your own fantasy or frustration project when it comes to relationship, right? You could be in your own pattern of, I get really attracted to unavailable men, and now I'm attracted to this married guy. Or perhaps you've had a history of this, right? Where there's more than one person that you've been attracted to and been in a relationship with who is actually not available to you in a whole way, right? There's some constant block or break on the connection, and it's structurally in place. And you're kind of going for that. So then we can also bring the curiosity back over to you and say, hey, is there something here for you to look at and inquire into? Is there something that you might need to clean up in terms of you actually being frustrated in the thing that you really want, right? And the thing that you might really want is a guy that chooses you and shows up for you and is in an ongoing relationship with you. And you don't get that by going after guys that are already committed to someone else. You don't get that even if you see that there might be cracks in the connection there. I'm curious if you could bring the attention back over here to yourself and notice, why am I stepping into that? Why am I not taking a stand for myself? Why am I not starting off a connection with someone that's actually available? Now, I know there's a lot of mysteries in life. We don't always plan who we have a connection with or who we might fall in love with. But if there's a pattern that's going on for you, that might be time to take a look at it. And you can certainly, even if you notice, hey, I've got feelings for this person, and maybe it's gone way beyond that, you can still have your choice, as difficult and as arresting and as challenging it may be to hold certain boundaries. Part of it is your higher self, your mature adult coming online and saying, hey, this isn't actually good for you, girl, right? This isn't doing you any favors. This is tormenting you. This is heartbreak. This is frustration. This is possibly just reactivating the wound of, I didn't feel chosen as a child, or perhaps someone walked out on you, perhaps you were abandoned in certain ways, or perhaps you had an unavailable caregiver. That's the direction of attention that I would encourage you into, to notice, is there anything there? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But if there is, then you have this opportunity to notice, am I just recreating a pattern of familiar unavailability? Am I recreating a pattern of course, this person, this is like pre-abandonment. This is abandonment before you're even in a full connection with someone, just because there's this break on the connection that means this person can't actually be with you. So if any of this applies, this might be your opportunity to take your stand, make your declaration, reclaim your power, and trust that you are worthy of a guy showing up for you and giving you his full relational energy, right? Not just the scraps of someone else on the side of a significant connection, not a third wheel who maybe no one in the world even knows about, right? You're this sort of secret third wheel. You actually are capable and worthy of being in a full-blooded love relationship where someone says, yeah, I actually want to really be with you. And if this guy is really that guy, and perhaps he's intimating to you that he is, or perhaps you're filling in the dots that he is, he can make that happen, right? He can actually show up. May take weeks, months, years. But if it's really meant to be with you, he can figure that out. But if what you're living on is kind of half promises and constant at some point, if only, if maybes, this might be the time to say, you know what, I don't actually want to live in this level of conditionality. I want something that's actually available to me, and that I don't have to fight for the attention that's mostly going elsewhere, right? So you can see, as difficult as this situation is, and I do feel for you because I know it's really hard, and I've also coached people in this territory, and I know it's really hard. So let me just underscore that, like, this is one of those difficult life situations. It can also get a lot easier when you sober up and take the appropriate action to hold the boundaries that will serve you. You might say, hey, I'm actually going to go no contact with you because I'm in love with you. I'm in heartache and heartbreak all the time here, and I want to be fair to myself. And I'll just say this, if a guy really loves you, and by that I mean he really has your best interest in mind, that he gets the torment that you are going through probably in this situation, that if he really loves you, he might also release you from that and say, hey, I get why this isn't good for you. You know, as much as we might have this intoxicating thing going on or this secret fantasy or whatever it is, I get that this isn't good for you. And in my love for you, actually, I want you to go no contact and let me figure it out. You know, maybe give me 3 months, 6 months. You know, maybe I can just come back to you at some point when I've gotten clear what I'm actually going to do and where I stand as a guy. Because that's the kind of guy you want, right? That's taking a stand that's clear and that you can actually relax into. Whether that's, disappointing for you because he's not actually choosing to make something happen to be with you. And I want to encourage you not to be afraid of that possibility. I know that's probably going to be hugely disappointing if you're in this situation, but it's also freeing, right? The thing that you're afraid of and that you don't want to have happen is also possibly the path of freedom, because being locked in this constant unavailability and frustration complex isn't a path to freedom and fulfillment for most of us. Right? So even if there's a tough edge to this, which is like, yeah, maybe he's been giving you all the talk and actually he doesn't have an intention to leave his wife, or maybe he's been deluding himself that he does, but he's not actually going to follow through. You might need to take good care of yourself in this situation, because from what I'm seeing in all the situations that I've coached with in this kind of territory, the guy is not actually taking care of your heart. Right? The guy is not actually looking out for you fully and what's in your best interest. He might be in love with you. He might have all sorts of feelings. You might have a great sexual connection and be all sorts of chemistry. But in terms of like, hey, what would actually really serve you and your heart and not have to put you through the ringer? It might be that I step back from the connection, I figure my stuff out, and then I come towards you with clarity rather than this kind of half frustrated, ongoing energy that's just not really serving anyone and is creating a lot of pain and a lot of lack of integrity in what's actually going on. So I hope that's been interesting and useful to you. As always, questions and comments below the video. I realize I'm looking a bit casual here today. It's a snow day, so I've kind of been taking it easy. And I also want to make an invitation to you. If you are new to the channel or you haven't yet taken it, you can find the link below the video to my free webinar called The 3 Keys to Being Relationship Ready. How to be the real you and attract and keep Mr. Right. It's actually a new and revised format, so even if you've gone through this before, you may want to take it again, because we've changed some of the delivery in this, but we've been getting great feedback, rave reviews. It'll be an awesome investment of your time. You can just click the link and find a time that works for you in your time zone, and we will see you there. It's with my teaching partner, Clayton Olson, who's got a huge YouTube channel. We will definitely deliver value to you, and we would love to have you as part of it. So click that link, find a time that works for you. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Questions and comments below this video. And as always, I'm Jack. Thanks for being here.